Thompson to speak.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Speaker, I rise in support of the report and to thank the Mayor and his strong leadership, and of course, Councillor Layton. Councillor Layton, I will say this, your dad would be so proud of your work today. He would be so proud. I want to thank the city manager, of course, and his strong leadership, because with respect to the top of this organization, if the top is not in sync, no other part of this organization will be in sync to go along with this. And of course, the outstanding work of Selena Young and members of the Aboriginal Affairs Committee. Speaker, I rise because I think it's important that we need to use the EAR, our energy, our actions, and of course our resources to apply to the report and its recommendation. In a very fractious world, in a world where there's just so many uncertainty on a daily basis, in a world where microaggression seems to be the thing that happens on a daily basis, in a world where we see the suffering and the suffrage of the Indigenous people and many others and so on, we need to be the leaders as we are today in terms of the action that we're about to take. I think it's really important to understand that if we live up to our motto in terms of diversity is our strength, we have to ensure that we incorporate every interest to make our city, a better place for all. I've seen the actions of some, and I think Councillor Layton spoke a little bit about it in 2010 when there was a need to remove all of the different groups and committees and so on. This was one of those that I saw Councillor Layton's energy and efforts in terms of ensuring that in as much as the support wasn't there, he in fact and others were going to strongly support and take the approach that more needed to be done. Reconciliation and truth and the fact of justice is difficult for many to accept, because oftentimes there is an expression or a view that it is just simply those people talking, and in fact, in as much as it may be in front of your eyes, you see the injustice, you see the challenges, you see the difficulties that people experience who don't want to accept it. Because oftentimes what people say is, well, it wasn't me, it was someone else. Well, it is all of us. It's not someone else. It is up to us to ensure that what we do going forward for all generations and for all people, it's not only based on the aspect of respect and integrity, but it is based on a simple principle that those who are God's children must be given the fairness and the justice that in fact that is rightfully deserved. It is not a matter of permission or asking for permission. It is that we are entitled to these things. I'll make one final point, Speaker. In as much as we have this report, it's a 10-year plan. I want to make sure that all of us are prepared to continue to fight to ensure that there is not going to be another administration in the future that is not going to emphasize the importance of what we're doing here today, and to ensure that the process of reconciliation is not simply just an afterthought, but it's given the attention that it deserves. Because without that, we can't be a just, fair society. Without that, we can't be a society that we can be proud of. That Mayor Tory's grandchildren will grow in this city and feel proud of the work that he's done and all of us have done in order to make this city, and of course we want to expand that to the province and the country and the world, because the world is watching what we do. In a world where we see so many strange things happening and so many disregard for just the basic human rights of people, it is disconcerting, and in fact this chamber and this body has to do more. The leadership of the city manager and the mayor and every member of council is there to ensure that fairness, justice, and rights are prevailed and are strong to ensure that what we've seen in the injustice have happened in the past will not continue in the future, because we will all be on guard for the hearing, because we are about the energy, the action, and the resources to ensure that we actually make the best for everyone. Thank you, Speaker. Councillor Fletcher, your vote, please.
Yes, in the affirmative, sorry.
Thank you. Speaker, the item carries unanimously, 26 in favor.
Thank you. Before we go to the mayor's next key item, Councillor Cole, your item CC 4212, that you wanted to release earlier with a confidential report, I mentioned to you that the copy, okay, just a sec. Okay, so the city clerk has advised me that additional materials are not available for members reviewing in the clerk's meeting portal. And that's as well with CC 4213. Which is EX 31.10, Modern TO Unlocking 8 City-Owned Properties. So if we have questions to staff, if you can please put your name on the screen. Councillor Wong-Tam.
Yes, thank you very much. To staff, can you explain to us the process of consultation and disposition as outlined? What would it look like for these properties? Speaker, it looks like the staff are not ready for this item.
Is staff here?
Madam Speaker, it's Josie. I'm trying to get Craig Teal. I will finish the call. I'm sorry. Oh, you there? Okay.
Yeah, Vic is here. I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Okay, we have all the staff here. Okay, go ahead, Councillor Wong-Tam.
Sure, thank you. I'll start all over. And for you to staff, my first question is, can you provide an explanation to Council the process for consultation and disposition of these properties? Can you just itemize how it will happen?
Thank you. Thank you. Through you, Mr. I'll invite our project lead, Peter Heron, to take you through the specifics of what the consultation and disposition process involves. Peter?
Thank you, Nick, and through you, Madam Chair. Councillor Wong-Tam, I think the consultation process, it does vary on a site-by-site basis between the 8 properties that are part of the portfolio. But as per the report that came forward, the intention is to go out for public consultation ahead of any planning applications being submitted on any of these 8 properties, or of course ahead of any proposed transactions being finalized or being negotiated on 8 properties as well too. So it is scheduled, and I think again of the 8 properties, there's 5 properties that have been identified as short-term properties that are coming forward immediately, and 3 other properties that, based on when the properties are unlocked, are going on a long-term basis. For the 5 short-term properties, we have committed, we have scheduled to begin public consultation in 2022 within the next few months on those properties. Again, ahead of any planning applications or ahead of any proposed transactions being negotiated on those properties.
Thank you. And the contributions to the land acquisition reserve fund, is it a straight formula that you're going to draw from for the disposition of these properties? How is this being calculated?
So I'll speak to that through you, Madam Chair, Councilor Montand. I think that is the expectation and the council direction we have is to deliver 20% of the land value to the land acquisition reserve fund. So what we've done is we've kind of looked at this point and at sort of a total aggregate of what we believe to be the land value of the overall portfolio, which is $450 million. And so the expectation that we would have is that we would look on an overall portfolio basis to see how we could generate the equivalent of 20% of that value for the land acquisition reserve fund. So it'll be done on a site by site. It'll be done as a portfolio, Councillor, but we'll look at each site in a manner to maximize both city building and see what kind of income we could generate from that to try to hit that target.
Okay, thank you. And does the City Council have a chance to review the total quantum for the LRF that the portfolio work is done? Is the final decision, does it rest with City Council, or is that delegated to staff?
Through you, Madam Chair, it would be a City Council decision, because I think ultimately, for example, on the 610 130 site, 610 Bay, the former that is a 2-part RFP process where we are going to be reporting back after the first phase of the expression of interest, which I think would, the expectation is that we would provide council with detail around what kind of how that land value is being spent or used, meaning how much are we getting in revenue, how much are we investing into the site, and then council will ultimately make that decision. As you are aware, on all the other sites, there's ultimately going to have to be council direction to ultimately dispose or transact on those. So I think at that point there will be an opportunity for council to be to make the final adjudication of how that land value is spent.
Thank you.
Also, Councillor, any disposition of any asset belongs to the town, regardless. I just want that in.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further questions? Any further questions? No, I don't see any. Okay, Mayor Tory to speak?
To speak last on this item, Speaker, if I could.
Oh.
No, I'm speaking first. You're quite right. Doesn't matter. I will say the same thing whether first or last. I mentioned this in my comments. I just want to commend this to the members. It's a work in progress, as so many things are here. But I think where we are today is a significant step forward in that we're taking 3 of the 8 pieces of land covered by this report and starting to move forward with them in earnest. And these are not complicated matters. Councilor Montana questions make reference to the public and community consultation that has to take place. There are relationships involved. There are city building objectives that we are determined to achieve. And of course, we have to go through what I'll call a competitive process in order to make sure that we are either achieving the right value or that we're picking the right people, or both, depending on which of these properties we're talking about. I I think that the benefits will, however, be immense. There can be no question about that, and I think this is sort of endemic to governments, that they will allow, I think sometimes for fear of public reaction to investing in their own properties, allow buildings to fall into a state of certainly being, less than optimal and less than modern in terms of the use of space and the type of working environment that we create for very important public service functions and for the public servants who perform those functions. And I think this will give us a real opportunity to modernize some of those buildings. And that's not only good for the buildings in terms of their preservation, it's not only good for the people who work in them, but it's good for the efficiency of the city and will allow us to have more people, given the way we use space nowadays, and given the way we're trying to be more respectful of the environment, to work in our city-owned buildings. And the efficiency part comes from the fact that increasingly productive use of our square footage we own will eliminate the need for us to have to rent a space from others that can be expensive. And as I mentioned earlier on this morning, it also will have the effect of allowing some of our city jobs to be placed to a greater extent in buildings we own in places other than downtown. And I think that's a plus, especially as we build out more transit and make it more easily accessible. If you think about it, the North York City Centre is very accessible. The Scarborough Civic Centre the same, and will continue to be with the transit that's being built. And the new Etobicoke Civic Centre, again, the same. It will be the future location will be very accessible to transit, so it's going to be a good place for our employees to work in addition to downtown. But more so than that is the city building. The city building is going to come mainly, but not exclusively, from the opportunity to take these sites, which presently will contain basically zero in terms of housing and affordable housing in particular, and make a significant change dependent upon what people are prepared to put forward and what we're prepared to insist upon by way of those particular sites. The first three I'll talk about in particular. I'll make mention of the fact that I was very pleased to move a motion that passed at the Executive Committee and will be now before you as part of this report this year for consideration to expedite the dealing with 277 Victoria. It's a sensitive matter. It's a sensitive matter because it happens to be the headquarters of Toronto Public Health, and they're pretty busy right now with doing the excellent work that they're doing on the pandemic and a host of other matters. They would have to move. But also, there's a very important and compassionate public service being delivered there through the supervised consumption site, and it has to find a new home as well. But I think it's important that we expedite consideration of that because of the importance of that particular site, 277 Victoria, because of the important role it in turn will play in the very positive and proud evolution of Ryerson. Ryerson is one of our marquee post-secondary institutions, among many, I should say, and that's a source of great pride for the city as well. But they, that building sits right in the middle of their campus, and as they go about making their own plans for considerable growth and expansion in the coming years, which is a great thing to hear, that building is an important thing for them and our ability to be able to process that without, again, I think they have an interest in it. I'm not presuming upon the process is going to be to where that building goes, but certainly to have that process get underway, to have us be able to respect their future plans and to consult with them, I think is fitting in light of the important role that they play in our community. So I just think this is a hugely positive step forward. It's the first of several, because we're dealing in this case basically with the first three. I believe this is being carried out responsibly by CRATO and by the Corporate Real Estate Management Group. I believe that it is very much in the public interest. I believe it is going to lead to substantial, they say $20 million a year of savings. It's going to lead to huge city building opportunities, in particular with respect to affordable housing and other public purposes. And I think, when it's all said and done, say dealing with these three, I think we will be better off in terms of the broadened use, if I can call it that, of that real estate and just have the subcommittee in its present use, especially as regards the bus terminal property where now the function of that previously performed is just not there anymore. And so it's time for us to move forward to put that to much better use in the very heart of the downtown of our city. So I want to thank the staff for the excellent work that they have done so far, and commend this report and the recommendations in it for positively to colleagues. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Councillor Layton to speak.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Chair. My apologies, I've moved back to my office.
I just wanted to express my support for particular one of the sites in the ward, and my thanks to Great Field staff for taking seriously the feedback that they got from me about the level of affordability that is expected on the site. You know, many different Torontonians and even people that are visitors to our city have memories of the bus terminal off Bay Street, right? It was an entry point, a welcome, a meeting place. It was how a lot of people experienced getting into and out of our city, me included, when going up to summer camps or when going on visits to relatives. When we didn't drive, because we didn't always drive, we took the bus, and it was it's a remarkable building in space. But for the purposes of city building, it's particularly unique. It's located in between two subway stations. It's located on a streetcar line. It's located in the hospital district. It's located adjacent supportive housing. And it doesn't have some of the pressures that we would feel typically about development of the scale and scope that we anticipate on this site. Because there aren't many neighbors. There aren't many direct neighbors to the site. That's what gives this site so much potential. We can't lose that. We can't accept the traditional way that we would dispose of properties and the comparatively low amount of affordable housing that we get on some of the sites that we've seen from our city. There's too much potential here. The supportive nature of the district, not only the neighbors that provide in the city, but the hospitals, the supports that can provide to communities of need in our city are enormous. And that's why it makes this site particularly valuable, I think, to the city achieving some of its city building goals. I'm glad to see that Creatio took it seriously. I'm also happy to see the amendment that was brought forward by Councillor Bylaws at Executive Committee to really try to maximize the amount of affordability on this particular site, partly because we know that there are many in our city who are seeking housing, and there are many communities that are perhaps afraid or concerned about the growth of a certain type of housing in their community. That is not the case here. We should use this opportunity to build much needed supportive housing for those living in our city, and I'm certainly prepared to make that commitment. I hope that the options that we get coming back are creative, that involve investing in the health sciences district in the community, but in particular, again, I believe it would be a great disservice to our city and its goals if we got back in front of council an RFP for this site that didn't include a very significant amount of affordable housing, even if it's at the sacrifice of some of the dividends that we had hoped to gain from the sale of some of these sites. If we want affordable housing, we have to invest in affordable housing. We can't expect that we're going to get it for free on every site, and this is a particularly good site for it. So thanks very much to Creatio for bringing forward the recommendations.
Thank you. Councillor Bylaw to speak.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I do have a motion moving the supplemental report. And I'd like to start by saying that, for a city like ours that doesn't have a lot of revenue tools, and given what's going on with the real estate market, I think that what we do with our real estate, the strategic actions that we take to manage our real estate is more important than ever. And I think we as a council have recognized that this and under the leadership of the mayor have created Creatio to do exactly these kinds of programs and this approach. With this program, another program that Creatio is going to be leading, not only are they going to be creating spaces where it's going to respond to how people work today, it's going to ensure that our workforce has a good environment to work and to foster their activity. It's going to activate our 4 city centers, which is crucial. We want activity, we want jobs, we want vibrancy in the 4 corners of the city. This will do that. And most importantly, it will take this asset that is of the value of our real estate to do city building activities. And particularly, There's going to be hundreds of units. I know that Councillor Layton spoke about 610 Bay. I think this is such a great opportunity that we're going to have in here. I can't wait until we start working on it. I think there could be really interesting partnerships in here. There's other ones that could enhance institutions in our city. There's other sites that will continue to serve as our needs as a city institution as well. So this is a great program. It clearly demonstrates why Creatio was created. I think that the mayor and this council had envisioned this kind of activity, and for us to leverage our assets to the best use. There's a finite amount of resources and money, Madam Speaker. We have to use it smart, and this is what we're doing in here. I think we're going to be talking a lot about that at this council today. How do we ensure that we get the most bang for our buck? And that's what we're doing in here to make sure that we have a lot of city building activities through our real estate, including hundreds of affordable housing units.
Thank you. Councillor Wong Tam to speak.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I'm also here to lend my support to the recommendations in this report, also to the motion that was drafted by the mayor and moved at the executive committee. This is exactly what we need to do, and we're heading in the right direction. Unlocking real estate value in the city of Toronto, of course, is something that every single property owner is trying to achieve, but they're not all going to be city builders, whereas the city has a different obligation, a different civic purpose that others do not. So the intention here is not just to create more affordable housing and to actually leverage the institutional value that rests in these properties, but also to work with the existing partners, and I think that's critical. Most of it already spoken to, but I just want to say that it's about aligning those values wherever we can, so therefore we can get the very most outcome for civil society. And it's not just about pursuing the mighty dollar, it's about ensuring that we do it smartly. So I just want to highlight one particular property that I think is worth our attention, and it's going to be so key to everything that we do, especially in the downtown core. There are 3 properties listed in the report that belong exclusively to sort of the catchment area of Ward 13 or Toronto Centre, but in particular I'm going to point out 277 Victoria, although not listed as an address, but adjacent to 277 Victoria is 38 and 40 Dundas. This is a tiny little sliver with a white building that has been sitting largely vacant in the heart of the city, where you have maximum number of media impressions. You've got lots of people walking by, literally millions every year, and we had a building that was owned by the city that was abandoned. I can tell you that it faced graffiti, there was vandalism, there was illegal parking, there was all sorts of things that happened to the property, and yet we, the city of Toronto, was a property owner. So being able to recognize that good work that comes out of the report is important, but also recognizing that we have a responsibility to make sure that those assets that we are holding on behalf of the citizens of Toronto, that it always is well maintained, that there's a purpose in the interim, even as we're getting to a final outcome, is critically important, because we lost a number of years with that property, and that property could have actually helped accelerate some of the transformation and the improvements that we were looking for in the downtown core. So I just want to highlight that, although the report is before us and this is a very good direction that we're heading in, it also builds upon the things that we didn't do well, and that is not managing city assets well when we leave them vacant, when we leave them subject to vandalism and graffiti, and it does have repercussions and effects for the local community. I can tell you that the local community in the downtown core is very excited about seeing new city building initiatives take place in the downtown. This is something that the community has been asking for. They've been lobbying Creatio, speaking to the mayor as well as members of the executive committee on how to accelerate the economic recovery of the downtown, especially when it comes to bringing workers back into the office hours and trying to provide support to those small businesses that are struggling so hard on the main street. So when we build housing, it's not just for the sake of building housing, it's about building a city, ensuring that we have prosperity on the main streets, and being the very best asset managers on behalf of the residents of Toronto. report with my colleagues today. Thank you.
Thank you. So that was the last speaker. On the item,
Like
recorded vote. Yeah, first on the amendment by Councillor Bylaw. Okay. The amendment is on.
We don't require a recorded vote on the amendment, just on the item. Thank you.
On the amendment, on favor, show of hands, carried. On the item as amended, recorded vote.
Speaker, the item is amended. Carries unanimously, 23 in favor.
Thank you. Before we break for lunch, wondering if is there an echo? I know. I thought I saw. I could hear myself. Okay. Am I okay now? Do we have any quick releases? If you do, if you could put your name on the screen so this way we can do a few quick releases before lunch. Councillor Cressy.
Yes, thanks, Speaker. This is item HL 35.8, indoor ventilation requirements. Councillor Peruzzi had a question, but it's been answered, so happy to release it.
Okay, on HL 35.8, Councillor Cressy is releasing. Favor, show of hands, carried. Thank you. Councillor Cole.
Yes, can I release CC 42.12 450 Young Street with the confidential amendment that's been shared?
Yes, and we'll put them up. It's on the screen, Councillor Cole. Do you want to read it? It's on the screen.
Yes, City Council amend the confidential instructions to staff and confidential amendment 1 to the report March 29th, 2022 of the City Solicitor in accordance with the confidential attachment in this motion.
Okay, on the amendment, all in favor, carried. Item is amended, all in favor, carried. Thank you.
Speaker. I have pre-circulated two motions on EC 28.2 supporting restaurants in Toronto. If members are prepared to just vote on my amendments in the item, I can release it.
Okay, just let me check to see if we have the motions. Councillor Perks, Councillor Peruzza wants to continue holding it, so in your name.
I'll hold it. Yeah.
Okay. Councillor Robinson.
If Councillor Peruzza wants to get in touch with me, I'm happy to chat.
The item is CC 42.13. I referred to it earlier. It's 126 to 132 Mayor Drive. I'd like to move this motion to amend the confidential instructions to staff report March 29th by the city solicitor in accordance with the confidential attachments.
Okay, so on the amendment, on favor, carry. Item is amended, on favor, carry. Okay, well, our next item is EX 31.4. We have a few minutes. We want to ask a question. Councillor Wong-Tam. This is the acquisition of 214 and 230 Sherburne Street. So Councillor Wong-Tam, do you have questions? You held the item? Okay, so Councillor Wong-Tam is not here. Okay, let's recess for lunch. We'll be back at 2.
Thank you. 12:30. Just 12:20.